Disclaimer. The information and education material contained herein is meant to promote the general understanding and dialogue of GANs processing. Such information is not meant or intended to serve as a substitute for a healthcare professional's clinical training, experience, or judgment. For patients and individuals, such information is not to be a substitute for professional medical, therapeutic, or healthcare advice or counseling. For medical issues or concerns, including decisions about medications and other treatments, readers, viewers, listeners should always consult their physician or, in serious cases, seek immediate assistance from emergency personnel. Prescription information, procedures, and use of medical devices information should be undertaken only by properly trained and certified medical personnel. We specifically disclaim any warranties, express or implied, including implied warranties of merchantability or fitness for a particular purpose. Such information is provided, as is, and is believed to be accurate at the time of its publishing, but it is the viewer's job to evaluate the accuracy of any information found in this presentation. Every case presented is of their own experience, applied by themselves for themselves, and it applies to their case only. Every person experiencing health problems should seek professional medical advice and consult their course of treatment with a doctor. The processes of plasma balancing described herein are a natural process which supports the body but does not replace medical advice or therapies one is already subject to.
Mr. Keshe, who seeded humanity?
The earth itself. The condition of it, that few degree angle in what we call axis of the earth, creating the 4 seasons, created a combination of fields, interaction, production, and these fields somehow, through the balanced common denominator, interact with each other. Once the condition was created, the water, the oxygen, the hydrogen, and the rest of it, then what came in it is a different story. Life of a planet, life of a structure has sequences. And scientists have not understood this sequence. You cannot produce gases if you don't get the plates, if you don't get the box, if you don't get the water, if you don't get the salt. You can't have gases if you buy the plates, buy the salt, and get the water, but you have no container. You can't have gases if you have the container, you have the water, but you have no salt. So life is the same. It has to be, and it comes in sequences. When one is done, then condition of the position creates the next one. Doesn't matter where you are in the universe. The rays of the sun led to the creation of amalgamation of some of its own back to itself, absorption of whatever to itself, that led to creation of the earth as a matter, pieces of plasmas. Interaction of the fields created the gravity. Interaction of the gravity and magnetic fields receiving and giving created dimension of the planet. In dimension of the planet, now you have a field which is a loose bullet in the fields of the what we call solar system. You got, as I call, a knife on the edge of a fast rotating spin stone. It creates sparks. Those sparks are different, they're not all the same. Big one, long one, short one, oxygen, hydrogen, whatever. Now you have a container, now you brought the water in, you brought the next condition. And in that process of the knife running against the rotating wheel, you created other things called the zinc and copper and the rest, and the salt and whatever. And then in interaction with each other within the oceans, the right temperature and condition, you cannot produce gases sometimes in a minus 50 degrees, even though they're produced. You have to have the right condition, then you create the right gas. And if you can amalgamate those gases, as you've seen, you create rotation. Then you create some of your life. This is exactly what happened on Earth. But when you have the Earth, you created the salt, you created the water, you created even the sand and the soil. And if there is a matching structure across the universe which can fit to this, can survive in this, it can replicate itself with it. Go back to the teaching of years ago when I spoke about the shoe crab. Origin of the life of the physicality of the man is condition of the man. The origin of this earth. What happened with the soul of the man in interaction with another physical dimension which was matching the condition of the earth? If the knowledge is transformed and transmuted to the soul of the man or the physicality of the man, that's another condition. The race of the man we see today is not the only one. Initially, when the earth was created and the condition came right, there were thousands of men similar things. The one which was a stronger started dominating. And now what we see is men of today. Even if domination was spreading, he split himself into different color and races. So, what's the origin of the man? The origin of the man, the earth is from interaction of some fields. But once you create a condition, the others which come in it, they can live within it. That's why the population of this planet is from outside, not from here, because they can live in this condition. But they're not from Earth. As I always said, we have a beautiful Farsi word. It says, whoever has a mustache is not your uncle. Because all the Iranians have mustaches. And you have a lot of uncles. God help your grandpa and your father. So we have to understand that life is not exclusivity, but life is created out of the condition of exclusivity of the interaction of the fields of this planet. So, where did the man come from? From Earth. And where did the man will go? Again, from Earth, because he's got the fingerprint of the soul of the Earth. You up to now, you looked at, if you moved to China, you look Chinese. If you went to South America, you look South American. If you went to the North Pole, you became something else. But you got to understand, the soul, common denominator soul of all of them are the same, but the creation is subject to the soul of the planet. So we all have a fingerprint of the soul of this planet within our soul. We have a fingerprint of the solar system within our soul. We have a fingerprint of our galaxy within our soul. And we have even the fingerprint of this universe in our soul. When we go to the other universes, when they look at us, oh, this is from that universe, in that galaxy there and there. That's the fields you produce. You see the separation. If you leave Earth at the point of death, you carry that fingerprint with you. If your position as a new soul, as a new star, is in another galaxy or another universe, you carry all the fingerprints of where you came through the field interactions. Now, you were doing the tracing of where the man came. If you go to United Nations website or the other side, that they trace your ancestors, where you came. And if you've done it, he came from Europe, he came to Asia, you were a black man somewhere else. It's the same way now in the dimension of the soul. Through the strength and color and the interaction of the fields, you attract back to Earth. From which galaxy, from which universe, from the rest. It's just because we didn't have the knowledge, we were not aware of it. Now we're aware of it, we understand. So, life of the man from Earth started from Earth. Man from other part of the universe Being a man, we accept them as a man. But in their souls, in a dimension of physicality, we can soon know where they are. A lot of travelers of the universe are in a black skin. It must be a surprise and a shock, but in time you will see. Because when they came to the original source of creation of life on this planet, and not on this mutation. Go back to some of the teachings of the past 3, 4, 5 years ago. I explained this when I was sitting in a cafe in Ghana, when I saw them and they tried to hide behind the lift. We see the original races, not the mutation of races. Then you understand. Life originated on this planet according to the environment of this planet.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the 619th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, December 4th, 2025. This is a broadcast of the Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute Education Department and part of the public teachings in English. My name is Rick Cremond, and I will be your host once again in this endless series of workshops, you might say. And once again, we have the pleasure of having Mr. Mehran Keshe as our presenter here today for another exciting and insightful program, we expect. Hello, Mr. Keshe.
Yes, thank you very much. Hello, good morning, good day to you. As usual, whenever you listen to this, there's Knowledge Seekers from Keshe Foundation Spaceship Institute. Just before the broadcast, as I was talking to Rick, I said, I don't know what's to come because we have no script. And he said he's chosen something. And as an intro, and the intro, in a way, was set for the teaching of today, which is in line with what we've been teaching and in line with what is to come. In 2 days' time is one of the days that the world and the universe will celebrate in coming times, the birth of Mitra. What we call birthday of Mitra, a day to us, is an instant of flesh in the life of the universe, but that flesh time will be cornerstones of bringing peace and what I call equality across the universe. As she is amongst us already, and the celebration of the birth of Mitras will be across the universe, across many races to come. And what we listen to the introduction of today presets for the next level of understanding of how Mitras of the future will be created. We heard, we understood that life started the way it started on this planet, according to the condition, the place and position. And then maybe do and through its own structure, or maybe by connection of the first soul to other souls of its balance across the universe, brought the dimension of fields of the strength of a soul, that interaction on this planet leads to the creation of the face of the man. Which means the planet created the base for life. And then being matched, tuned to another race in the universe, that the energy balance on this planet lead to the manifestation of the man or life the way we see it today. As we see, there is a lot of pressure around the world by world governments to keep the 19th of December a silent time in what about to happen. But we see a lot, we understand a lot what this day will bring. And then if you understood the intro, understood what I said in past few minutes, then it brings a very big question. Did life, the way man is, with the intelligence of man, the way it is, brought to us due to proximity, connection, field balance, the three-eye? Did we get our origin from something like this? Which is most probable. There are a number of questions till now in genetic modification and test tube babies and the rest of it. And in so many ways, we see men as us, 2 legs, 2 arms, cannot reproduce with another. Because the fields don't match. They move out and the field matches, and the ones who couldn't have children with each other, they can have children from other partners. But there is a very big fundamental question, is that are some of those who chose to be what are called refugees of Earth, or it was a nice place we stay, are those that we cannot create children with, we fall in love with. And when this match of the fields come together, allows the creation of child. Have we gone through the process that some of us, as those who were initially here, created by this planet, have managed to create fields in the dimension of emotion with those who are from outside that can lead to the creation of life? We have and we become passengers of the universe. There is no choice. We are there. What happens when the human falls in love with an entity, fields, energy, body, structure, that in being balanced with each other, they can mix, they can share their emotion, which that emotion we call love, becomes the structure of another life, a mitra. Pure, no attachment to physicality, no need to kill, no need to destroy, but becomes the beauty of manifestation of life, reflection of the Creator. what created us. We don't see Creator fighting to attain. He provides. It's us who fights because we are shorter in different shape and forms, because we don't understand. So what we come across, what we understand today is and would the future of man, those who were born, carry the fingerprint of this planet, in falling in love, in a way, means sharing with another energy pack in any shape or form, looking like human, 10 legs, 20 arms, and the rest of it in the universe, cannot physically interact because, sorry, the women don't match the man, and the man of this planet don't match the woman. The genitals doesn't exist in the other one. The only way they can do is changing emotion, which leads to time, leads to new life, which goes back to the teaching past few weeks about the time when you put part of your emotion and the other side put part of emotion. That emotion has found the right environment within the field of the two. A new time starts, a new life, a new dimension for a plasma to exist. Then we understand more and more. We're looking in the scientific world and in the people who are in this game to see if anything happens on the 19th of December. And funny thing, with this 19th of December, which more or less falls to around the longest night and the shortest day, which more or less coincides with the birth of Mitra, is the reason, if we adjust our calendars, dotted here, dotted there, that 3i comes on the day of the birthday of Mitra. And is that a cycle that man receives, gets new energies from this process on regular basis. Is just like we get fertilized. We get everything possible to elevation of next step. From the data we're getting from 3i, which is kept and is open to some people who are very close to different structures from different organizations, is that this object has a soul, has emotion, it responds. It is responding to data, we send it and it sends it back to us. It has a black hole characteristics inside it. It creates a dimension of shield and protection around it. It has its own aura and it changes the aura according to it. We know this entity has emotion. Especially in past 3-4 weeks, with the data we receive, we send back and he answers back on the data the same frequency strength, is giving the scientific world a twinkle. What happens? They are waiting to see interaction. I wait to see the emotion. I wait to see the energy transfer. I wait to see how this energy elevates the soul of the man. The interaction of this entity has a characteristics which not only interacts with the soul of the earth, but it interacts with the soul of the man on the earth. And waiting very closely to watch after the event, after what comes up, and to see how the origin, maybe that's where we got our souls from, or connection of the elevation of the energy of understanding came by interaction of the lives on systems like this. Does not mean there are millions of people living on this subject. It means it has created a dimension of life. We know it has a biological life. It is as I said to one of the space scientists in the past few days, it's like a baby, or it's like the mother that you go Google Gaga, hears and answers back to us in a different combination, Gaga Google. We know this. The length of the communication with this planet, or this object, is on a biological, scientific, digital code. It changes it to the code we understand. In a way, I talk to you according to the intelligence. If we look at the life and what it is, I have a strong belief, and it's ingrained in me by my childhood, by the way I was educated, the ethos of Zoroaster. The beauty of the first cycle where man for the first time came to believe not in the fire, but in the creator of the fields, which is the creator of that fire. And being taught, being brought up in the environment of the Zoroastrian high school, it's ingrained in me to look beyond religion, understand the process of creation. You, as normal people, you talk about Zoroaster, you talk about Mitra, we talk about everything else. But embedded in the teaching of Zoroaster, in the teaching of Mitra itself, or being part of the first lot to understood beyond the fire, we come to understand we change that fire to the soul of the man. Burns inside, stays inside, and it points to the source. You look at the picture of Zoroaster, the symbols we see, the man with two bird wings and a circle in the middle. There is a lot of hidden things sitting in there, and in one point, Zoroaster points to the sky. And another point, Zoroaster gives the what I call the commitment to that, a marriage by soul. Look at the picture of the what we call of the Zoroastrian side. You see the right hand up and points to the light, to the creator. Look at the left hand. It's the first time man follows but doesn't understand. It's the first time we see a ring on the marriage finger. It's there, it has to be there. It's a sign of love. It's a sign of commitment to this marriage between the man and the creator. Every single picture you see of the sign of the Zoroastrians, the wing, the bird, has a meaning. And in being in the Zoroastrian high school, we understood the essence of it, not the pictures you look at. You see the bird, the circle, which is the sign of the earth, and inside it is the sign of the soul of the man. It brings a lot of things back, which means we are within the soul of the creator. Yeah, that picture you put just on, open it up and have a look at it. It carries every essence of the creation. That ring is the commitment between the man and the creator. The right hand. In the pictures we see today, they go that way. But if you go like the temples we used to go, the schools we used to go, the picture is not like this. The picture, the right hand, shows the horizon of the sunrise. So they change the direction. As they build the building, it shows where the creator is. That's the symbol of it. And then we understand from the beginning, we understood the connection between our soul and physicality. And if you go, you look at the skirt, Rick just put on. You see those 3 layers of the skirt? And then you see the top, the bottom of the skirt. The part of the wing 3 layers is think good, do good, and good. And when you see the skirt, is the badness, not to. And the rest of it is the opposite to the top, which is, in a way, what you can be and what you do. This picture is full of meanings. It's amazing if you study it, because as a students we had to, we wanted to. It was a mystery of our own culture. And so we know the thing, everything about it. If you look at the sign of the, what I call Nazis, you bring that out. That's the Iranian. This actually originally came from the pictures of Mitra, where the river of life goes to the mountain and then on it creates Mitra and the light of the God. And then it comes back to the creation of man. And then it's the sign of, and that's why Hitler chose it. It's the sign of being Persian, being from Aryan blood, understanding the cycle of creation. And then it just all got muddled up. But when we look at these features, when we go back to when our ancestors originally came, in a way, it's like we create a child and we have a canvas. It has some of its own texture. And then with education, we talk, we teach them language, our language, we teach them the way we think, and we engrave it on their condition. In the process of man, life, our soul gets engraved, receives information from the cycle of life. Not here we understand automatically which fruits to touch, what to eat, what not to eat. And if you are not told that, sorry, in this part of the world we don't eat dogs, doesn't mean the other side, because they eat dogs. What is wrong? The one who eating it or the one who don't eat it? I was a guest of the South Korean government, and while I was there, it was a lot of motion where we eat, where we take us, and everything else. And the Korean government decided they send with me a German educated lawyer who was brought up in Belgium but lived in Germany to be my translator during the time I spent in Korea. Amazing guy. He was like a word processor of today translator. He was translated, but he could transfer knowledge of the culture and the nation, because South Korea president wanted to keep me in Korea for development and everything else. And as usual with these things, they take you to fancy restaurants and everything. And one night, we were invited to go to a very special restaurant, and I didn't notice one shop was like the other. But the minute we approached this restaurant, he said to me, "Don't look at that way, please. That's, you don't want to see." I said, "Why?" It was like a blank face restaurant. And we went to the next door restaurant, literally wall to wall. I said at the restaurant, "Why did you tell me not to look? What's the reason?" He says, "I can't say." I said, "No, you have to explain to me. Why?" He said, "In that restaurant, they consume dogs. It's specialized, it's a very well-known restaurant." I said, "So I understand." We had food, it was, the officials were there, it was a very nice evening. And coincidentally, somehow, I gathered one to one, putting things together. The dog kitchen and the not dog kitchen is the same. The same pots as the dogs cooked, the steaks are cooked. It just depends where it goes. And that puts a very deep impression on me that we humans have adjusted ourselves to path the way we were ingrained by our fathers, by our environment, in accepting what is and what is not. And this goes across what we received from, what education we received, how we were brought up. And then it comes to our soul on this planet. Whose soul touched our souls? Systems like 3I, which is life, and it does for itself, is one-man band, but can interact and produce itself as it is a process of creation on its own. And what emotion has brought with us, and what has delivered to us that has been at the strength of, he knows the strength of field of our emotion, and he transmits it. The biggest question is, why every time this thing appears, every 3,000 years or so, the cycle of life on this planet changes? We know that according to what they say, every time our twin sisters come close to us and the planetary system, pressure of magnetic field releases meteorites, pressurizing it, shooting towards the what we call the sun, and we see huge, massive activities in what we call bits and bots and stones on moon, on earth and everything else, and we blame one of them for creation of the, what do you call it, extinction of dinosaurs. But the same thing is, we see those physically. But what does entities like 3I, which carry emotion, understand the magnetic field of the soul of the man, every 3,000 years bring us? If you go back to cycle, the time and the cycle of Zoroaster matches into one of these cycles with things like 3I. What I call the 3,000 cycle. We see it, and then they told us there was no civilization. Egyptians were 6,000 years ago, and the Jews jump in. We all, our religion is 5,000. We come to the 6,000 then because it fits them to be everywhere. But now we find civilization 11,000 years ago, 12,000 years ago. Because now we took the mask of limitation for us to be away. You see, cycle of changes every 3,000 years. And it's due now. It's not a destruction. Is we see it now. The connection cycle is between 6 of, coincidentally, Christian calendars become St. Nicholas Day because it was chosen by birth of something to fit. And the longest night of the year, which brought man out of the darkness. In the cycle of the time, this entity needs to transmit to our souls. In the planetary system, we see meteorites and increase in activity of the twins, what's called the star. In the soul level, is this 3I, that entity. Does it need to manifest this way? Or because of his interactions, we see changes? There's one thing for sure. The earth is moving internally in a way. The field strength of the earth has been reduced. By a reduction in the fields, we see the movement of the magma much closer to the surface. This is why we see huge volcanic systems movement around the oceans, around the islands. The volcanic eruption hasn't happened for 10,000 years, 20,000 years, whatever. Is the cycle brings us the elevation of our souls, both with the interaction of the field at the field, the strength of our soul, and in the dimension of physicality with the soul of this planet. Nothing might happen, but man, every 3,000 years changes. becomes wiser, somehow elevates. Why the news cycle of 3,000 years, and why this entity appears every 3,000 days, and it goes like paying visit to everywhere. You know, I go home, I go to my favorite restaurants, I go there. It appears to be transmitting, transferring, and moving across every planetary system. Would we see the creation of new cycle of man with the higher intelligence, but they don't match into us because they are not from this, they're in the shape of, as I said to a friend of mine, it's Apple, but the chip inside is different. When we understand these things, when we look at the bigger horizon, and then we understand, is the actual birth of the new cycle in communication what will come this Saturday between 3i and the earth? The soul of us, not in the dimension of physicality. As our soul changes, our physicality changes. As this system, because we've seen a lot of changes, this system, tiny but has amazing power, which can even stand, interact, affect, and change the position and the field direction of the sun. This is something which a lot of us haven't understood. This thing has gone so close, and to any standard, it would have gone vaporized. It's so powerful inside that it can stand to the big giant and causes it to speed in the span, change the solar strength of the star, which in turn changes the solar star of us, and we see a change of face because of intelligence of the understanding. What would be the position of the soul of the man in the coming time after this interaction? Our great-great-grandchildren being on earth will face this giant again. Interesting thing, as I said to a scientist, does things, behaves like this because it has managed, can replicate, understands, and has strength in the direct source to the creator. Because it can adjust, it cannot. We see it having emotion. We see it as a biological emotion. Emotion, robotic, is different in emotion than biological. We can make as many computers as we like, we can give them all sorts of feelings, but they will not have the biological understanding because the system, robotic, stands on the merits of its components, where biological stands interaction with every other entity, plasma in the universe, which conditions it to its creation. In a way, in the next few weeks, we watch. We're expecting a big commotion between what would happen, what will the 3i do. But as knowledge seekers, you've got to understand it's a plasmatic condition, and the beauty with it is that it will touch your soul. The change will come within the man, not because of it on the interaction of physicality of the man. And this is interesting. They watch what it does, and we watch what its magnetic fields will affect us as the citizens of this planet. And man, as usual, will look for outcomes, and I look for what is the onset, what is the deliverance, what will bring us to be part of, and how much this entity will elevate our souls. How much this entity brings us joy. How much elevation of the knowledge will. And then, as we approach the 6th of December, And then we approach the mother sun, which is the man coming out of the darkness of the night. Then we see what happens to our children. What happens when your children, your great-grandchildren become passengers of the universe, and on this planet they're white, they fall in love with the Chinese, a black and the rest of it, but this time they fall in love with another creature in the universe. Would the mothers cry that my child is wasted? Or would the mother's joy in that we have a reunion with the universe? And then what happened to the children of this beautiful thing? Because now the marriage is not on a physicality, but in the dimension of emotion. And as we said, when the two emotions interact, they create a new time, new life, new cycle. Man has to stay and look with open eyes. Man has to be there from now on to spread the love of the creation across the universe, and not exclusivity of me, my race, my color, my everything else we see. Racism by race, as being a man compared to the others, will create the demise of the man, because through emotion this time, man's time will change. As we lost so many, as we endeavored to new territories, and we killed many, as we brought them new diseases, as we've seen in conquering new continents, which now we understand it was already conquered, what would the new conquerance of the space will come to be? What joys will bring us? What diseases will bring us? What increase in the intelligence and understanding of the universe will come? The birth of children of Mitra will bring man a dimension of joy, will bring man a dimension of understanding more about their own creation and no limitation. I salute her birthday. I love every 6th of November as I pay respect to her birth, and at the same time I respect the mother of the creator, what we call the Mitra. Without her there wouldn't be Mitra, and without Mitra wouldn't be the child of Mitra. And without it, will not have been man. The creation of love and not struggle. As I see, is not a chess game, it's a game which played within the chest of the man, within the heart of the man, where we carry our heart. And then we understand the process of creation. Man, in a coming time, when the doors open scientifically and the doors open with understanding the truth, come to understand gradually, as he found out the earth is not the center of the universe, it comes to understand he has always been part of the creation, and his lack of understanding of his own creation has brought him to isolate himself. In a way, our physicality has isolated us, and he could not do with our soul, as our soul has been a free bird among the universal community. This is part of the work of the teaching and the things we do in this, what we call, cycle of Keshe Foundation teaching. To show, for you to become aware of the existence of the soul and the physicality. Physicality does what it likes, the soul is busy with its own life. And when one can help the other and elevate the other, gives some true emotion and creates a new time. And this is what will be the future of the creation of this universe. And the sooner us as humans with 2 legs, and maybe some of us don't have even the legs but still have a soul, come to understand it's not the man from the earth which counts anymore. The physicality of man is irrelevant. It's the soul of the man which created on this planet will count in the dimension of the creation. As we travel into the span of the universe, we cannot always wear the spacesuit. And as our soul becomes in line with the dimension of the existence, then we understand we need to learn the way to bring the physicality within the dimension of the soul of the man to be able to track it, travel it, and move across the universe. Last few days, I had the pleasure to remember John many times because I did so many things with him. We didn't lose a friend. We lost a soulmate. A soul which was there, he knew. The love of him trying to move his physicality, but it was easy for him to move his soul. And it was amazing the way he was doing it. His biggest cry was, why can't I move the physicality? Where his soul could go, and he had the same eye as it was his physical damage. And he all many times brought me the understanding, man can trap himself with a physicality, but man can trap himself with understanding that he knows nothing about his own creation and understand more of. I remember a session walking in the exhibition center. I have him on the picture because it's there. I see him, he's with the camera, and I see him lifting from the floor. He made himself like a cylinder, the way you've seen we have it. We organize it with him that way. And he's sitting with a passport in his hand. And I see him in what do you call in America. But he was telling me what I was doing in Linz. I said, I don't understand. I can see what you're doing there, but my physicality is here, my passport is in my hand. He could travel with a dimension of the soul and see and convert it in dimension of physicality, telling me what he sees on the Zoom, but being with me, seeing what I do in the room, thousands of miles away. And these tests, these conditions brought me to understand very simply is the man who does not attached and he cannot leave the physicality. It wasn't the passport which was holding him back. It was him wanting to still be taking what he made here as the last package with him. We can trap the physicality, but we cannot trap the soul. It's a free bird, even our soul is locked, tied up itself to this planet. And that soul, in the span of the universe, will fall in love, will create his own children of Mitra, and with it will create dimension of peace, but the fingerprint of this planet. And the biggest things we do, we're trying to clean that fingerprint of the dirt of killing. That when you put it, it reads exactly the same as the rest of the universe. My love and my life goes to the daughter of Mitra, to her birth and the new generation she brings. We go for a break, we come back.
All right, thank you, Mr. Keshe. And yes, we'll take a break here. And today I have an excerpt from I believe it's the last Knowledge Seekers workshop. And Mr. Keshe described some of the products and effects of such products in this excerpt. And it's about 12 minutes long. And we'll be back after that with an opportunity for people to ask questions of Mr. Keshe. And those in our webinar here in Zoom can put questions in the chat, or you can verbally ask a question by putting your virtual hand up and we can acknowledge you and open your microphone. And people in YouTube can also put questions in the chat in YouTube. And I see there's one there already. Okay, let's play the video and we'll be back shortly. Well, I'm having trouble. I think I might have accidentally lost the video. So I'm going to
You might
play,
have deleted it.
I'll play a substitute one here temporarily until I can locate it. And
While you're trying to bring it up, anyone who would like to place an order for the Christmas package, 1st of December, which is next Sunday, not this Sunday, is the final day for orders that everything can be taken out and be delivered. As we received a large number of orders, it has to be stopped, as we'll not be able to produce to meet the orders. And these carry different ganses. In the coming weeks, as we promoted the sugar cup and other cups, we will introduce an interesting concept as being tested in other part of the world for certain pleasures and certain behaviors and certain ways as what we call accessories. Like we release what is known as like a beads where the monks wear, but with a specific target kind of purpose. As usual, it will be connected to, and these are done on the back of the other test, successful tests in different part of the world and the way we work. And so you will see what we call very much like the paint pen. You will have like monk's weed for sweetness and for what we call pressure. In the coming weeks, the paint pen, which has been traditional blue paint pen, will change to a transparent pen. And it'll be very colorful, and it brings a new dimension, maybe more powerful than the pens we released. So this solves a problem for like certain nations do not allow liquid, which is a containment of the pens, to be transported across. Now we bring it into a solid state with much more effect, deeper effect, and this takes around the process of a lot of transferring liquids for given purposes. Very much is the process of the technology in daily useful things, very much like plates and trays. And you have seen the first of these in Christmas packages, where Christmas trays have been released and any other things that we carry, which we started with what we call the table mats. This sector will be increased drastically, and many of you who are resellers or want to be resellers will let you to promote this very extensively. And these are all part of the Christmas package. The same has been done. It was done with the Halloween and before with different articles. Now we're bringing into application of, like as we see the chest. The chessboard is not a normal chessboard, is extremely heavily pointed, that a game of war, which this chessboard has been, to make a man of peace with those who actually want to play the game, but the essence of how will you feel when you play this board game as being a battlefield and trying to win, would it become different way, and you find different emotion in it as you hold each key. This is a structure which you'll follow, and then you will see step by steps. Hiding the peace, hiding the balance, emotion and other things through what we call the games and the rest of it, changing the thoughts would you still have the same emotion when you play this game, which is made for a GANs of peace? To fight this, would you touch this chessboard? And what would be the pleasure of? I'm standing here. If you want, we play together. We don't kill. This is part of the same structure in what is to come as a game on the what we call consoles, which we call the units that you can play to earn what we call coins, cash coins as a reward for playing to create peace. Would this chessboard bring that game, that kind of emotion back? And this is how we bring a new dimension into the work of the Keshe Foundation. And this is how it'll be. We go ahead. What's next?
Okay, very good. Thank you, Mr. Keshe. I did find that video, but you've pretty much covered it, especially the part about the chess set. You had some interesting comments about that, and you reiterated them here today. So that was quite interesting. I was going to mention that on the news yesterday, in the Canadian news, they showed people playing what's called ultimate frisbee, and the teams were made up of Palestinians and Israelis, and they're both playing together this game of frisbee, and they do that regularly, whether they're under air raid sirens or other distractions that are going on, and different political sides back and forth and so on, and everybody sort of arguing back and forth, but they're having a friendly game between them. And I thought that was interesting use of gaming to bring people together, and essentially that's what you have in mind with this chessboard. What if we got all the world leaders to just have a big chess match, and but they had to use the GANs pieces? That could be interesting.
No, it brings what I call emotional conflicts. I'm supposed to kill to win, but I'm supposed to create a peace. How can I find a way to come peace with the guy without killing it? It's a very contradiction in essence, but that's how it works. So it should be. Most of the what you call, as far as I know, these products you see are already part of the stock which is getting delivered for the Christmas what we call packages. And as I said, the packages is the last time we what you call the last date for it is the 1st of December if you want a Christmas what we call products. I sent you something very interesting, Rick, and this has happened in the past few hours. I have just signed a large number of these, as we've done with the other side, but this is sold. It'll be popping out on the, what we call a Chinese Keshe Foundation website, or you can go wait for it till the what we call our webmasters put it up sometime, maybe today, tomorrow. The Chinese books of the Keshe Foundation, the 3 books have been completed and has been marketed as of today. There is in a language, a simple Chinese language, or in the what we call the traditional language, and it is now, I send it to you, is in the hardback and in the what we call the softback in the Chinese language. It's the first time it's done by the reputable Obertold publication in China, and you can order the set as it is. And it is very nice. It's just been released today for the Chinese, or those of you who like to have a Chinese version of the book. It's sold as a set of 3. And hopefully our webmasters will put it on the English side, which goes directly delivered by the Chinese side of the Keshe Foundation operation.
Okay, let me get that image up here.
This is a lot of work by the Chinese community. They collectively have done a lot of work to get this done, all corrected, and it's the first time you see the official Keshe Foundation. It's mostly it's a hardback with a very hard, what you call it, cover. I've just signed a batch of these today to go out. And if you're Chinese or you like to keep the Chinese version of, it's not available from now on. Any question?
Congratulations on that. That's a lot of Chinese people have been waiting for a while on that, I bet.
Yes, we have the same thing. We're waiting for the English, what they call it, the German and the French, and the rest to be done. Gradually, we're getting there, but these things takes a lot of time to be done. It's been worked on by the new head of the Keshe Foundation. He's done a lot of work with the team behind him to deliver these completed, and it's absolutely beautiful to see it in such a hard back and very professionally done.
Very good. Okay, we're back again at the 619th Knowledge Seekers Workshop, and this will be part 2, you could say. And we will have an opportunity to ask questions of Mr. Keshe, but he will have a couple or a few things to say before we begin that part. So please go ahead, Mr. Keshe.
Thank you very much. Going back on the what we call the Christmas packages now, the orders are going through. This is what you will receive, because these are actually packages getting delivered, and so I got a sense of humor on it. Comes from the Santa from North Pole, and this is how you receive the packages. Really, as a gift of love. A lot of effort has gone to do this, and then you see it. The other one, it tells you the same. A special delivery, and it's beautiful. You'll start receiving this. They're already going out, and this is how these packages were, according to which one you chose, and you can see a collection of them. It is not just what you call something being in there, and as the artwork goes, you can see them all there. These are physically, they are the ones who you're receiving in the next few days. They're going through the postal systems, delivering, and whatever it needs to be done. And with it, it carries every emotion. These packages, it's literally, you can set a Christmas table with it. It contains everything from the Christmas table, lighting for the, or accessories for the Christmas tree, with all the ganses and everything else within it. I hope you enjoy it, and I hope it will be a fantastic time for many of you. The same goes with other products of the Keshe Foundation, which is coming out once we pass through the Christmas, as we join all the retail teams, manufacturing teams of the Keshe Foundation worldwide together as one network, as I said last week. And Many of you are asking us when the monthly sessions will start again. We start the monthly sessions when we are in progress development of the new cycle of systems, because we learned a lot, we have to transfer it. A lot of it needs to go into the systems with the units, which is what you call it, especially built for the cash coins. And we go by this according to what we understand more. And we deliver according to the structure which we set up, and we just don't do sessions for the sake of doing sessions for people to be there. We do them when we need them. There's a special announcement. As part of the contractual agreement we had with those of you who bought the Ovisos, most of you received the first version a couple of years ago, and as part of our contractual agreement was, when it comes to updating and is updated, you'll be replaced automatically. To this effect, the Keshe Foundation, on the contractual agreements which we have with you, we receive a new latest version of the what we call portable Ovisos. You should start receiving them sometime in the next few weeks, 2, 3 weeks, or 4 weeks. And then please just don't put them on the shelf. Try to get people to use them. Lock them with our system. This is we're built for that purpose. You lot paid a huge amount of money for these systems, and somehow we don't see the interaction from your side or commitment to be there. And so, as you received the last of this, some of you received it actually in the conferences as you attended in that a couple of years ago around the world, you will receive the new up-to-date version, which is much more powerful and it's much more to the point. If you do not use them, send them back to us as donation. We know how to use them. We have to fulfill part of our contractual agreement with you lot, but many of you have received these Oviso headsets and you didn't do anything with them much, or you try to do it, we don't see something. You have to have a condition to be able to connect with it. And these cost tens of thousands of euros to be manufactured. And those of you who bought the Oviso units and then received the head unit to replace it, now is upgraded after 3 years of research development to a very much powerful system. It's totally different than the last one. And please, if you do not use your Oviso system, donate it back to us. We get somebody else use it. We have our obligational contractual to deliver it to you. If it stays in the box, it stays on the shelf. It's a waste of helping another life. We can send it to Africa, we can send it to third world nations where we'll bring benefit and joy, and we learn more from it that we can develop further technologies on the back. So you, as we agreed, you received the first batch upgraded. You'll receive the new systems in the coming weeks. But please use it. If you don't use it, it's on the shelf. You can't find people to use it, send it back as a donation to us. It is our job to keep every system up to date and up to grade. And the same thing goes with all of you with this system. These are very advanced technologies. Send them back to us that we can bring benefit to the others. Just don't put it on the shelf because I paid for it. Coming to our system with the communication, our team think are getting to the last phase of polishing it. And the first 25, I hope, when next week or so, within this week, will leave for destination across this planet. When you receive it, I hope when all the problems iron out, please contact us immediately. I received my package, and then our team will look into it. Till we don't receive a message from you that you receive your package, we cannot take any steps. So once you receive this, the first batch of 25, inform us of the receipt. And then our people, you don't need to do anything. Just connect it to the power supply and a Wi-Fi system, stable power. We cannot keep on flipping, coming and going out. And our people will lock into it. You don't need to do anything else. They load it up, everything else. And then you understand what needs to be done. And then the game comes onto it. We have to find out how we operate. Chinese side is a different operation. We have to lock it in different way for you lot. And the rest of the world, we want to see. Some of you sent us that you're on a what do you call the American system, which we have any. We don't respond to you because we just gathering more information. How many people have the what do you call Mr. Tesla? I call him systems. We are not ignoring you. You have to wait that we start delivering. Once this 25 is done, we need about a month or so to iron out anything problems as we see it. When we see it, because we did this originally, we sent 2 units out somewhere to Europe, and we had to bring them back again to China because the things were not in it the correct way or was not loaded at all in part. So the first 25 you receive, keep in touch with us. If you see anything, let us know immediately. We'll open a link for information for these communication units. If there is any problem, will be a link attached for you to tell us what problem you see, what you have, and our team will be on top of it to notice. But just because it doesn't do anything, just ignore it. Our team in the background will do. If we see a problem with your unit, the team will contact you as to what to do with the unit and what it is. And then once that's completed, you receive the next 100 to 200 will dispatch. And once we are fixed with that, the antennas will start moving out that we connect you irrespective of your ground line. So be with us, and I hope you'll enjoy the new adventures which the Keshe Foundation is getting involved in. And it's very interesting to understand. We still carry on with our work, with our what we call endeavors in the science and technology. Never stops with us, and you're part of it because you made us to be where we are, to be part of. If there are any questions, try to answer, and we'll see where we go.
Okay, thank you. I will advise our attendees once again that you can put up your virtual hand, and then we can recognize it and allow you to open your microphone that way if you would like to ask a question personally. See, we've got a number of questions, of course. Let me look in the YouTube, especially from Peng Peter. We have a question. Can the children of Mithra be compared to the creation of magnetic fields then? Emotion functions as a splash to the fields, generating a wave that allows the interactions to happen.
You mean like humans? That's how we interact. There is no difference between children of Mithra in point of creation and interaction than the rest of the creation in the universe. The only main thing with them is that they understand the knowledge of universe, where man is stuck with the knowledge of this planet and what concerns him with this. They come from a different school of thoughts. They come from different school of fields. One day I'll start explaining to you how to recognize the children of Mithra by their behavior, by their conducts, by their talk, the way they stand amongst people.
Does their emotion make a bigger splash to the fields, let's say?
In a way, yes. You see, There's a big difference when you speak about children of Mitra, which are close to the line of the thought of the creation, very much close to the line of Zoroaster. We go back. When I look at the historical time, the way it is, and the way we set up as a woman, and how do we behave and behaved towards women. If you go back to very recent time, which the woman became outright to do, but it was given to the women of Persian background, what we call those Zoroastrians. They are more in line in that way than the European historical time. Look at the world leaders, look at the world scientists in the West, how they explained women. They are nothing, they're a spare part, they don't have the intelligence. Read historically. I can dig out many of them for you. They are nothing without the man, from the world leaders, top scientists of the West. And then go back, look at the history of the Persians with the women. Their praise for man to be in a way are not complete without a woman. A house is nothing when there is not a woman in it. And when I compare the two cultures, I see the children of Mitra will come from that culture where they are worshipped for what they are as their creator of the peace and the home, and where they're not demeaned in the Western culture as a spare parts, no need, and something which is waste time, they're there just for physical pleasure. Kurosh said, a man stands tall when there is a woman next to him. And is the way the culture of not just giving birth comes into it, but it comes out of respecting what we call the creation of the Creator. We choose different names for it. And we have to understand the true value of a woman. Even though we all, in the first few weeks of our inception, the womb of our mother, we're all female. And suddenly somewhere we just jump the gene and become mad. And that key is what makes that change. What makes that soul to decide to move to become a male part of. But essentially, we're all brought up with care, with love, with creating the next cycle out of the fields of the man. It's very interesting when we look at the way we look at the inception, and then with the way we look at the way different cultures respect a woman. The children of Mitra will cover both, are not all female, as they are the creators of the next generation. It's just carrying the soul of Mitra, which is to be there as it is. Any other question?
So the soul of Mithra manifests as a man at times, and as a male figure and female figures at different points in time, in history.
It's a behavior, not the manifestation. It's the emotion. I used to joke, and it used to literally bother my mom, because I was, she was a woman in Iranian family, is the center of everything. You do anything that goes, mom, she makes a decision. It's not that she wears the trousers, it's the respect we have for the mother. And in a way, we all come to one point of we're all equal in soul. It's just that which side or which strength of the soul we want to trigger for life. And what does that bring as a fruit of emotion? And if you understand this, it answers every other question which we have. It's not a male or a female. It's what I need to be the balance and the creator of peace. Through what I call Iranian home, you never hear a child, especially when you grow up, even when you have conflicts, to go against mother. In Persian culture, we kiss the foot of the mother. Not out of anything else but respect. We kiss the hand of the mother, thanking him for life. And we don't have this in the West because we lost the culture. Because we see ourselves bigger, and this becomes a problem in the cycle of the creation, in the next cycle of the universe. You see, in many, we always sit below the foot of the mother. We never put the mother for us to be on top. It's not respect, it's understanding the love. You shout with the father to stand your right, with the mother you're silent. And this comes as a part of the life. Yeah.
Shall I continue here?
Are there any other questions?
Okay. Tender had a question regarding the figure. Get it back up so we have a reference here. The Faravahar.
Yeah, that's the sign of Sarashta. Yeah.
And just share it here so that we can see what we're talking about. And well, I guess just trying to see one of our clearer images.
I think I better stop sharing, then you can share.
This one will do. Okay, so
you have to take over.
Yes. Okay, I should have that now, I believe. Oops. There, this one rather. Okay, so this is an image of the forever. How do you pronounce it again, Mr. Keshe?
Always different way. We call it Faravahar. They call it in Farsi the light, what we call the fire. For his love of creation, we have a name for it, which even Persians don't understand. We call it Izat, which means it's the beginning of, where the source come from. It's like where everything has its own meaning and position. This picture, every line has a meaning, even the line within the sketch, separation of the stack and how it is. Those two little legs, one is doing good, the front which goes forward, and the one is the one which is doing bad and it has to be behind you. Zoroastrians wear a white t-shirt, and he has a, if you haven't been in the community of Zoroastrians, 99% of you don't even know, most of the people don't know. This white t-shirt has a bag in the front and a bag in the back, like a sack. And the bag in the front is for the storing the good things. It's a psychological bag. It's a, what do you call it? Symbolic. And the bag in the back is for what you've done wrong. A man does so much wrong in the past, is behind him and needs a bigger sack. And then a bag in the front. It's an amazing thing when you understand the culture of the Zoroastrian. And then in your bad things are never forgiven in Zoroastrian. Whatever you do, you carry it on your back, that with it you learn that becomes a good thing in the front. It's a very special t-shirt. It's always white, and it's got a pocket in the back of the neck, on the shoulder, and a little pocket in the front by the heart. And you are never forgiven for your wrongdoings. It's you to learn from it, not to do. There is no punishment. And these things is embedded in this picture. You still carry your bad things behind you as part of the leg, and one is the front. The leg which is the front, in the same direction of the arm, which points to the sun, to the light, to the creator, is that what you call good side. But you have never allowed to forget what you done wrong. You're not forgiven. It's for you to remember and to take heed from it for the future. I love the structure, understanding. True understanding of the Zoroastrian or Mitra is amazing, especially when you are brought in touch with at a young age. Then the whole thing takes different shape. Structured life has a different meaning.
Could it have the meaning, as Tender was getting to in her question, if we look at the Farabahar as a 3D picture, which you're suggesting too, is the third leg or support like the base of a star formation, and the rest of the body
no, this is the symbolic. The leg part with like a skirt is against the 3 layers of the wings. If you look at the wing, it's got 3 layers, original drawings. One is Dukut, Akut, and Vigut, and when it goes from one to the other side, it's the cycle of life. And the skirt is opposite to that. When you think bad, you do bad, and you act bad.
Isn't talk in there? Isn't talk one?
It's the what you talk, what you think, and what you do is the creation of life. This is humans. And that circle in the middle between the wings is partially explained to be the earth, and inside it usually you see another ring. And there's an interpretation of why you have the ring on the hand and you have the ring on the earth. The ring on the hand is being away from the earth, is the soul of the creator, soul of the man. It's very interesting. I spent days in the temple, and we learned from it. And you understand that the Russian teaching is very different than what is in public, what they teach you. Why you have fire? You know, they said the people worship the fire. We used to tease our friends, the Russians. We used to get a match and blow it up. The God is gone. But the Russians believe on different type of fire. You have the fire of the kings and leaders. You have the fire of the holy men. The fire of the holy men cannot benefit the fire of kings. And the temple of the holy men is different than the temple of the kings, where the fire is kept. Then you have the fire of, like, who we call industrialists, or people who are the traders. And then there are 5, I think, fires in the culture of Zoroaster. And one cannot be mixed. And the way the temple is set is there. It's very interesting because if you go to Tehran, you have a temple on the right side of the road, and Russian high school, and on the left side, depends which, if you come from the Russian embassies, on the right side. If you on the left side is a church and a school for Christians, and the back of not far is a mosque. And by law, the Russian school, they have to teach Islamic religion principles, and they teach the Zoroastrian teaching principles too. So we have a religious hour, and the religious hour is taught by mullah. Used to be taught by mullah with a turban, because they had to bring their influence, who they are, what they are. And then we get taught by the most of the teachers are Zoroastrians. Principles by principle had to be with Zoroastrian, and we learn different. And then we move across the road, 10 meters, it's just the road and 2 pavements. We have the Churchill, what you used to call Korosh, which belong to the Christians, with a church next to it as part of. Temple faces the church on the same street. And you listen to the Muslims, you listen to the Christians, you listen to the Baha'is, you listen to the Zoroastrians, and you think you have Jews with you in the classroom, and you think, my God, outside they're fighting, inside we're all one. And it brings a lot of joy to be part of this. We sat on the table, Christian and Muslim, Jew, Zoroastrians, because tables were 4, and sometimes they chose that way deliberately because they're friends, and they would call it the United Nation of the Faith. And it was amazing, the structure of the teaching. At the religious time, we split. The Christians go across the road to the church to be taught by the priest. The Muslims had a, what do you call, a mullah with a turban, with a long, Islamic dress, coming to teach. And then the Zoroastrians had the teachers from the temple. It just was a door they open up and they come in, and they go to the temple. Actually, we used to play sometimes in the garden of temples, and they didn't say anything, because this is yours. Children are respected and allowed in the Russian path. And you see why outside they're fighting, inside below each other. They used to cheat, doing each other's homework. They used to pass messages for the guy to get an answer right for the teacher. There was no religion difference. And the minute we came out of the frame of this school, one was a Muslim and one was a Jew, and there was the differences. Inside, there was no difference. And I always said, once the world becomes a Firuz Bahra, then be mature. worst thing you could do in the school was talk about the religion. You'll be dismissed from the school. It was the way we come to understand, and we could see by teachers how all the religions are literally made of one thing, but the differences. And if you put those differences, we're all the same, believing the same thing.
Would you like to take a question from Irmgard?
Very well. There's something before Irmgard comes on I have to explain. Many of you were touched by this system last week. And the thing is, we noticed from what you tell us, many of you literally fell into the same path, which was the plan or what we thought it should be the best way to do. We would like you to report back to us how you feel today. What emotions you take. Our purpose last time was to bring you to feel the reality, to see if you see different dimensions, and to create dimension of physical transmutation of certain things that becomes very real to you. You think is actually there. And it was the purpose of it, because I'll explain in a future time why we need and how you need this knowledge in the future to bring a dimension of understanding in the soul, not in the physicality, but you still see it, what I call a real dream, but in 3 dimensions, which is part of the manifestation of transmutation. And please write to us how you feel next week from this session, because it's very, very important to us. Carry on.
Okay, go ahead, Irmgard.
I have a question regarding the IPESU. There are several of us here in the United States, and we were thinking that we were waiting for the next instructions. We were supposed to just wait and not do anything. I used it for myself with Dr. Kern, and there are other people that I would like to have use it, but the cost, there's significant cost, and that's been the holdup.
These things should be ironed out with this new generation, because we learned a lot. We had to do a lot of what you call changes, and these all be addressed with the new system.
Okay, so can we then count on getting more instruction?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, because the new system has different. We have to create a condition that you can do it on your own without any doctors, because the system tunes itself to what is needed.
Right.
You understand? We're getting partially there, and this will, in a way, it takes the role of the physicians out of the system, because the soul decides.
Wonderful.
And this new system design, especially its communication system, sits on that way. We create a central dimension that it's you who decides how much to charge. You don't need a doctor. It's the emotion of the person will set what it needs. It's, let me see, partially it looks, let me see if I can find it. Just give me a second as usual. I'm a very slow coach. I think you've seen it before, but it's a much more sophisticated system than this. But essentially what you receive, which before was just a headset with holding hand part, this is much, very much look like this. So you get the details and instruction what to use, how to use it. I hope with a small manual or sheet, and we don't interfere. We try not to use the doctors. It's your discretion to tell us what you've done, what you do. And we see what we need to change at the center. What we change at the center as a control will have a direct effect in how your people will use the system. We have to set up structures, multiple structures in different layers gradually. Give us a few, what do you call it, as usual, Keshe Foundation, few months for us to bring this about. But the biggest thing was to build and complete this phase. And the new obesos, what we call portable. 2 units were made. But those, even the ones which the 2 are obsolete already with a new design, they're out of date. And we try to come up with understanding more of the psychological part of this system that does not need what we call medicine man of the medicine. In space, we don't have a man of medicine, you have to do it. What I think we'll see in the structure with the use of this system is what many of us will feel maybe on the 19th of December with 3i, if what we assume to take place will be correct. In a way, you tune to the soul, and the soul will envisage the physicality or enlighten the physicality. And what would that do in confirmation of the physicality? This is what we will see. The eruption of the volcanic eruptions, it will bring a new face to the planet. And with the change, where this will change the face of the man in the interaction of the elevation of the soul. These are part of us understanding, but we have to become the observers long term, not instantly, just that day everything will change. It has to take shape, it has to bring a balance. I'm trying to find a picture of the new system. Guys in the back in the lab, do you have a picture of the latest obesos you can post me? I know you're listening in the background. If you have one, anything that you want, I can show.
I have particularly the question, I mentioned this before, that I have somebody here I would like to work with who is alcoholic and maybe also multiple personality and is on medications and all kinds of stuff. And Dr. Kern had advised that if a person doesn't have skin in the game, as he says it, no changes may happen. And skin in the game means, in this instance, paying. So
Yeah.
I'm a little confused as to how to proceed.
Put them on a new system. Let's see what happens when you receive it.
Okay.
Because that has to be, we, in a way, we are not getting rid of the, what we call physicians. In a way, we're leaving it to the I'm waiting. And between the soul of the system and the soul of your person using it, they decide on the balance.
Okay.
You understand it? But we have to, once you receive this, we have to set system in our system, in receiving your system, because all your systems are connected to our system. And then we have to see how we adjust the two. That we can, what do you call, coordinate. Because you can't have 1 million people on this going to the same doctor. But you can bring a balance between 1 million people in energy of the soul level that brings back a common denominator. Considering that there is one sick person in that condition out of 1 million, the 9.9999 million people, or 100,000 people, will affect the one which is lower, which is not correct. And so the system balances itself for the other one which is sick back to come to a balance like the other majority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was warned that if an alcoholic goes off of this alcohol, that can be fatal if they go cold turkey, versus with other drugs, it is not that way. So I just want to make sure he's safe. From
That's
what I
the
understand,
decision.
he will be safe.
That's the decision of the what I call the energy system. What you accept with it. We're running a test now in a very specific way with the connection between the emotion and physical condition and blood pressure and diabetic. And the results are amazing. What we're getting data is absolutely what we see physically. People are reporting to us is amazing. And we don't need to do much. It's just that the body decides through the emotion to eliminate the emotion which causes or has caused the side effects of it. In a way, we come for repairing, changing the brake, and keep on repairing the car. And in the new obesos, we look at it that way. If there are 10 obesos on the line, and one has a cancer, one has a diabetic, one has the other one, the other 9 don't have a diabetic. The other 9 don't have the cancer. The other 9 don't have, maybe 8 of them has a blood pressure. 2 of them has a blood pressure, 8 of them don't. And then we see, does the balance come? We work through the principle of the plasma. And it's taken us a long time to get to this point.
You were breaking up. Didn't hear what you said.
I said, how the majority or on the line will decide the balance for everybody else who's unbalanced. So, what you call by the law of physics of the plasma, the stronger always gives to the weaker to become balanced. And this is the principle which will come into operation once these new obesos are operating the way it should do. One of the reasons we abandoned obesos, the big obesos, and we went for this, is that running 35 motors, engines, or whatever was deafening inside. And we could not create silent reactors. And then the system will not hold to its capacity, and then we had a structural problem. With this system now, we instead of you system being the surrounding, your soul creates the surrounding itself. It's a very, very specific way the way it's done. And secondly, it brings back into operation three-dimensional structure of the whole soul and the brain, which is cause of 90% of the problems in physicality. Why do we become addicts? Is it sometimes a gene balance, sometimes a structural balance, sometimes it's emotional balance. We're not born all alcoholic. Emotion brings us to it. One thing which now, as we discussed a few weeks ago, the world of science is getting to understand, you cannot ignore the effect of magnetic fields, which is emotion and everything else. It's like what Rick brought up a couple of weeks ago, that the scientists and now started adding a magnetic field with it. What is emotion? It's magnetic field. You cannot, in 99% of the, what do you call it, wellness, bring a change if you cannot touch the emotion. Even some of the physical damages can be sorted with the emotion. If you create a right field strength, what do you call it, power to do it, you can do it.
So
And
do we still need the mobile phone to use with it?
we'll let you know. There is how it'll be done. You'll be known. We'll let you know.
Okay. All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Thank you indeed. It's a leap in science and technology. Would partially we try. I think it can be done. It'll be connected to communication, the new communication units when the antennas are brought in. The balance of the health of a planet will come into play for the ones which are in it. What I envisage is literally, as all of us don't have a cancer, those who are connected to the system with the antennas and the rest of us which will come into operation will bring that balance. And the balance is not a cancer. We are 80% emotionally balanced sometimes, and when we are not, the other 20%, this 80% will bring the others and then stop the creation of cancer. When you have a cancer because your partner betrays you and then you create a cancer on the right side of the breast, then the other 80% of the, let's say, world population don't get betrayed by their husbands. So it's the emotion which creates that cancer. Now the other 80% are there to elevate the emotion because it's balanced. So you lose the basis for the creation of the cancer. And it's the same with genetic defects. When we say when time will come, there's no genetic. When we get this system running, I think we are about 5 years away from it. Doesn't matter how much we're advancing. It's just a progressive advancement to it. But 90% of us don't have a defect on a certain genes. When you work through the plant, when you understand the work of the soul and the soul of physicality, that 10%, by rule of the physics of the plasma, will balance themselves. It cannot be an imperfection. This used to be thousands of years ago amongst men, even without the man of medicine, because they used to communicate without words. They understood each other's emotion. And then you understand what the change is about to come. It's a combination of these headsets, a combination of the what we call the communication unit is partially is the satellite people who are there as a soul, because they set the machines are standard to set the standards of the fields by the machine created. The satellite souls, which are part of the foundation work, which are set for that job because they put their soul in it, they bring the human balance effect into it. And gradually, you will see how things work. Any other question?
Well, I think you've pretty much answered all four of Paulo's questions that were put in the Q&A before you started speaking. But I'll run through them and maybe you'll have some other comments. Paulo says, great Professor Keshe, will 10,000 units in operation revolutionize the human world in one fell swoop? It was enough for just 100 monkeys to be educated in a group on an island for all of them to become knowledgeable about the technique of washing potatoes before eating them in the famous 100th monkey experiment. With 10,000 units, will it have the reverberation to influence 8 billion people?
When you work on the balance of the fields, should be. But what I reckon in the coming time, using the what they call universal antennas, these units needs to be updated even in the structure. We have a problem. We see the problem. I've seen this problem since early 2000 with my systems. The insulating the universal fields from the matter state of the electronics is a harsh thing. And even in our labs, we have developed technologies, we have developed materials, system combinations to separate the effect of the fields and the motion of the fields. But these computers are your physical, it's like your body. We control the emotion with the soul, with the antennas. And then when you have so many in connecting to each other to make one big antenna, yes, it'll affect everyone, will be covered on it. Maybe we go to 100,000. Maybe people want to be near to. And as I was explaining to a knowledge seeker, at the moment when you have these communication systems, you have to have these masks on top of the church. You've seen they even make a tree, hiding antennas and everything else with it. With these systems, okay, some of you receiving it are on the, what you call Himalayan level, and some of you are sitting in the city of Amsterdam, 26 meters below the sea level. In that way, you all cover each other. Would it be the time that when we can't cover, we have no units above this level, humans on that above that at all, this level will be different than the others because they're not benefited by it? I don't think so. It's all to come, it's all to understand, it's all to put together.
That pretty much answers the second question from Paulo. How can you revitalize your teachings in practice and influence all areas of knowledge with action and dynamism?
With the new units, it's very interesting. I looked at this very recently, so I don't need to go back anywhere with it. With these units, you receive most of the teachings, all the teachings, whatever is available teachings will go on these discs, on these units. And then you have the universal system, which is connected to this. You communicate, you come in, other people use it. So the teachings will be ingrained in the soul of the man. And then those who want to use their memory of physicality. Because information, when you ask a question or when you put the data in it that is moving, it's dynamic between 10,000 units, it will have an interaction transmission to the universal system, which interacts with the plasma energy, which means it'll be very effective in that process, in transferring the emotion and everything else with it to the person who receives it. and will have access to all the knowledge which is in all the teachings. Let us develop the antennas and let us, let the team in the background do all the tests, and then we'll see. I still work as partially. I was advisor to one of the world leaders in a very recent uprising. And what I advised the leader, he said, there was literally, you cannot fight people on the street. You have to play the tune of peace through the headphones and microphones which you threaten them. They just walk away. They don't need to listen it, to hear it. You can play the silence music through plasma. That elevates, bring peace to. And they battled it for weeks on the street. They tested it 1 or 2 times, and it worked. We got to learn. We relied too much on shouting at people, and they react physically to it. Now we teach the soul, bring peace to the soul. They walk away with the physicality. Governing will change, and it will govern through these systems. You will understand. These units are just a disguise for freedom of the man. But it's like if you go out with the pharmaceuticals, they go every attack. When we do it and you use it, the pharmaceutical doesn't have any market to sell. And it's the same. These units are far much more than what you think they are.
So Paulo asks, which of the publicly available technologies could be influenced by the network being deployed? The CUP1, the MAGRAV, or neither?
Everything dynamic. Everything plasmatic dynamic will be affected because they receive, they have to react. Distance gap, backup position. Any other question?
Paulo does go on. He says, I would like to define a control, what he says, a control volume in a community or an entire small town to conduct research and determine the gross national happiness index, similar to what is done in the Kingdom of Bhutan. After the initial survey, would the inhabitants learn the technology of the CUP1 or MAGRAV, or would the investigation be conducted using headphones? Then, periodically, the research would be repeated to measure the evolution of the index. How can this work be made as scientific as possible to serve as a model for later replication?
You cannot do it in the present structures because of all the bits which are in it. You have to build cities for it. And in part of our work with one of the major governments is building the first cities this way. You can't be camel bird and it says I'm a bird and it says I'm a camel. You have to create the environment. Then you can. Or the environment of our cities are very much poisoned. They're toxic. And there are people who encourage this toxicity to be to their benefit because both sides benefit by it. You walk the streets of today. You just look how much negativity, how much pressure, how much dislike, how much misunderstanding, and how much very, very many things are there. simply by the physical structure of the buildings, the road plates, the road map, the lighting. They just put there because it had to be, somebody drew it. When you go between the two lights, it's very late till the next light, you have to route the dark patches because there's not a light, balanced light. That brings you fear. What happens to me, especially if you're a woman or you think somebody will attack you? We're always, and one thing is just one of the examples. When you create a city which has no light, by your motion you create a light around you which gives you the emotion of safety. It's a big difference. We have to restructure our lives, and then we'll see the benefit from everything else. And China is building such a city. No lights, will be no hospitals, very little, no supermarket, and no police station, no courts, no prison for this city. This takes time. And then you see, you create a condition that there is no fear, there is no hunger, there is no need to be worried for whatever. And then you see how man's mentality changes with the rest. Once you create a piece of soul, you create a piece of mind, you create a piece of physicality. Men do a lot of things out of fear. And it's the job of the people who are in position building the new cities, take all these elements of fear and the conditions which create that fear away. The Chinese government does a beautiful thing, and I always love the way they work. They don't go out punishment, they go out to create a condition that you can do wrong to get punished by. It's the philosophy of the way they do a lot of things in China works that way. And then if you actually go and do something wrong with everything is set up, then you get a back of it, because you break the law of it. But every effort is made that you cannot do wrong, or you know what's the consequence of when you do wrong. You walk the streets of Beijing, never see dirt. Very hard, if it is something, it gets cleaned away. You walk the streets of Beijing, you don't lock your back. You're not afraid of theft, because government has brought enough cameras, enough other forces that gives you that security. Nobody, you can't walk away much with it. In the West, you see, let's say a hairband or something nice on the floor, somebody picks it and goes. In China, you just pass it 2 days, the damn thing is still there because the owner didn't come and pick it up. Because if you lost it, you backtrack it, you could come back to it. Government have to create that condition. In the West, it's done by punishment and fear. In China, it's done by making conditions that you don't do wrong to get punished for. But if you do it, you know the consequences of it. This is the future cities. Thinking, deep thinking, management wise, managing it, deep thinking in how creating conditions, environment that things cannot go. And now with the technology like this, saturating it with enough connections and with everything else that it always stays balanced. It won't be a boring life, it won't be a boring thing, it'll just be more time to enjoy. Any other question?
Antonio asked, can the units be purchased by several people and installed in the house of one of them?
Yeah, why not? This connects to the point.
Says, what is the result if you buy this way?
Nothing. It's just how you share the income from it. That's what we now setting up. It's just through connections and the structures. Now we're setting up with some of the knowledge seekers who donate quantities, 10, 20 units, and they say they don't want the income of it or whatever, with the government, that we put 10 units to a government, to a university in the governing. I'm talking to many ambassadors in for implementation of how, but they say, how do you choose a person? So this is not my job, it's the guy who donated it. If he doesn't want, then we decide in another way. But it gets people involved in sharing knowledge, finding respect and love for each other. Many units will go to educational institutes that the money from the income, which is 2.4 coins a year, which is 24,000, feeds about, any student in Africa needs about $100, if that's $40, $50 a month to live. They don't even have that. Then you can see one unit can educate 5 or 6 people at highest level in universities. Not by an empty stomach, but with the food in the stomach. It's another way of doing it. We have to find the ways around it that makes it possible. Shall we call it a day? Been here long.
Okay, maybe I can give a couple of reports from today's session that's in the chat here, so that you have that for your data. Monica says, today during the first half, at some point I seemed to fall asleep. The entire lecture flew by and I couldn't remember parts of it. I felt the energy and opening of my chest and also felt my forehead. Now I feel a sense of balance. Cristiano mentions, today I felt my soul expand and leave my body. When I got up from my chair, I felt dizzy as if I were off balance, off the ground. Doug mentions, since the last Knowledge Seekers workshop, my lifelong cigarette habit or addiction has diminished significantly, 75 to 80%. The emotion of this habit has changed. I have given up in the past, but always resume. This feels different and permanent. There doesn't feel aversion or disgust, just a growing indifference, a lessening desire.
We have a knowledge seeker here. We have 4 or 5 of them this week. I don't say if they want, they can come and explain, because I found this fascinating. It's amazing. They wrote about the dogs, and I have other people writing about themselves and the children, what happened since last week, or their mother who was there or wasn't there. This specific knowledge seekers had a very strange experience with her dog. And I read it with such a joy. The joy was there that the technology works. The joy was there that it brings peace of mind, presence of soul. And we're getting a lot of you writing how things change in perception. And this is the whole part of the teaching. That's why we do these things in the background. And it'll be nice to see it, to be able to visualize it, to be able to feel it more than anything else. And it's the purpose of these. And this works because it tells us how to tune our system. There's a lot more to come. Massive amount more to come. We are just not, as I said, haven't got the first steps of this technology.
Mr. Keshe, before you go, I just wanted to mention about the Universal Council has an invitation to everyone to a celebration of Mithra's daughter's birthday. coming up on Saturday, December 6th at 2 p.m. And it's at the same Zoom number that we're currently at. Not sure if they're going to broadcast to YouTube or not. It might be just on Zoom, but it's same Zoom channel again, December 6th at 2 p.m. Central European Time. Mithra's daughter's birthday celebration. And that's with the members of the Universal Council who are putting that presentation together. It'll probably be about an hour and a half program, I understand. And I'll be there hosting as well. Let me see. Is there anything else before we go, Mr. Keshe?
No, really. Thank you very much for being with us. I hope we understood more than learned about the creation. Sometimes it needs to be understood, and I think today was a reflection of understanding, trying to understand the process of creation and how we will, and actually learning something with it, which is different. We'll see you next week, and hopefully we move to the next step in the whole process. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. Keshe. Thank you. We have a message from the Universal Council that I'm to show as well, which is somewhat regarding the presentation, but it says, we, the Universal Council, invite the Keshe and Universal family present at the Earth to unifying at the soul level every day at 9 p.m. Central European Time, and every 3 hours, to give through our souls to all souls in existence, to elevate in level of understanding the ethos of Mithra, universal love, living life as a peaceful being, respecting all life and living equal. Okay, thank you to Lissy for that message. And let me see, I think that's it, other than, well, there is another announcement, which is coming up on Monday, December 8th. We have the public meeting for testimonials. And if you have a testimonial of the plasma technology or some experience you might have had in that regard, well, it's a good place to be able to tell the world about it and unveil your testimony. So again, this is a public meeting for testimonials on Monday the 8th, and that starts at the 8 p.m. Central European Time. Okay, I think that's it for now. And thank you everybody for attending today's 619th Knowledge Seekers Workshop here on Thursday, December 4th, 2025. And we'll be back again next week, no doubt, and in the following workshops. Bye for now, everyone. We'll go out with our usual flight enhancement spaceship unit. And bye for now, and have a great day.